Welcome back to the farm for another project. If this is your first time, I hope you enjoy. So what we're going to be working on today, if you've seen any of my other videos, you kind of know the back here is kind of my backdrop in my workspace. I have this "sorry I can't hear you over all this freedom" sign. I get quite a few comments on this, but it's just kind of spray painted on my shop wall here. So I thought, you know what, now that I have a CNC machine, I could do way better than spray paint. Let's make something custom. Let's get started. Alright, so here's the design I came up with. So what we're going to end up doing is the letters are all going to be raised. So they're going to be raised by 0.15 of an inch. And then down below that, we're going to do the pocket here. So these are all going to be stripes. So I'm just going to do a 1/16 bit. And I'm going to make lines here so I can actually use tape so I can come back and paint all these. It's going to be interesting kind of going around the letters, but we're going to make it work. And then we're going to do a V carve for all the stars and then the eye as well. But what I'm going to do on those is I'm actually going to paint that wing blue ahead of time, so that way as I carve the stars out, since the maple is a really light color, the stars will already look white back behind that blue without having to paint them. And then once it's all done, we're going to take a 1/16 bit and cut the whole thing out, and then we'll get it all mounted on the wall. So let's get started. Alright, so yesterday I went through and kind of painted everything so we can do the final details here. I'm leaving everything as far as the white. I didn't paint the white just because I kind of want to see how it looked with this maple in the background, and so far I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to carve out the stars and see if I get the detail that I want, and then I'll just kind of do a clear coat. One thing I am going to make a little suggestion though, that if you are doing something like this, now this is a piece of maple that may not be perfectly level on the backside because I actually did a couple of leveling passes. So one thing I like to do anytime I'm doing like stars or anything that's going to have the V carve, really when you want that taper to keep the detail, is I will actually re-zero the machine with the bit kind of in the center of the area I'm going to be working on instead of out here on the corner. But the other thing I do is I have this shim. So I just went and found the shim. It's a 0.003. So this is about the thickness of a piece of paper. So I'll actually use this and run that under my bit until I'm right in the area that I'm at. We'll actually get it to where I can no longer like that. Just moved it, so then I'll move it back up, 0.005, and then that's where I'm going to home for this next little bit of carving. Just a little pointer. Go get yourself a shim. I think I paid like 35 cents for this thing. Works pretty good. You'll see a couple little spots here where I got a little ambitious with the Z coming back down, but you know, for 35 cents I can go buy another one if this one's go bad. So let's get the stars carved out, and then let's see how this thing finished out. Alright, those stars came out nice and crisp. I'm really happy with how that's kind of finishing out. You can see if you look right there, there's one little nick where the V-bit, as it was coming to the top of that star, just barely nicked the border. So if this is something I decide that I'm going to try to sell, or if somebody wants to purchase one, I might move these stars down just a little bit, so then that kind of makes that so we don't have to worry about that V-bit hitting. But really happy with how that turned out. I definitely think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish painting this with white. So I'm going to go hit the stars, I'm going to hit all the other stripes, and then I think what I'm going to do is for the eye and for all the letters, I think I'm actually going to use gold. Have something kind of really kind of stand out. And once we get that done, we'll get this hung up on the wall. And here's the finished product. Everything's all painted, all finished up on the wall here. You can see a little bit of marks. I kind of hit this with a wire wheel just to kind of give it some character here throughout. I think it turned out pretty good. I think that's definitely a little better than our old spray painted one. So eventually I'll get this mounted and I'll move it over here so it'll be back up on the backdrop behind the CNC for all my work. Well, I hope you enjoyed another video. If you did, feel free to give a thumbs up. Feel free to share. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll do what I can to answer them for you. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. You can join me for all my other projects, all my other videos. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you around.